Close your eyes for a moment and listen, not to the noise around you, but to the gentle movement inside you. There is something rising there, something very old, something that feels both known and unknown at the same time. This feeling, this pull you cannot fully explain, is not something fake. It is the quiet voice of your soul speaking about a connection that has never really been lost. You may have doubted it. You may have tried to explain it away, to ignore it, to tell yourself that it is just your imagination. But the soul does not imagine the way the mind does. The soul remembers. It notices. It understands. And what it understands is that there is someone whose energy is already connected with yours. Someone who senses you even when you are not close in the physical world. This kind of connection does not follow time. It does not wait for logic to agree with it. It simply is.
And right now, whether you see it clearly or not, the space between you and this person is becoming smaller. Not only in a physical way, but in a deeper emotional and mental way. Both of you are being guided, shaped, and slowly moved toward a moment that will feel certain when it finally happens. Before two souls can truly come together, they first need to grow into themselves. The times you felt alone, the confusion, the strong emotions you went through, none of it was without purpose. It was all part of preparing you to become someone who can fully accept and understand this connection. And the same kind of growth is happening within the other person as well. There is something unusual about this journey. The more you try to force it, the more it seems to slip away. But the moment you start to trust it, to let go and allow things to happen, everything begins to fall into place in ways that feel almost unreal. You may start to notice small signs, little moments that feel too meaningful to ignore. Thoughts of this person appearing at unexpected times, a sense of closeness that does not match the distance between you. These are not random. They are part of a deeper process that is guiding both of you toward each other. Sometimes the path may feel slow. You may wonder why things are not happening faster. But there is a reason for the timing. Everything is being arranged in a way that allows both of you to meet at the right moment, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally ready. If things happen too soon, you might not understand the connection fully. You might not be able to hold it in the way it is meant to be held. So the waiting is not a delay, it is preparation. And during this time, you are being asked to focus on yourself, to grow, to heal, to understand your own thoughts and feelings more clearly. Because the stronger you become within yourself, the clearer this connection becomes. You will begin to feel less doubt, less confusion. A quiet sense of knowing will take its place. And that knowing does not need proof. It does not need constant reassurance. It simply exists, steady and calm. The truth is, this connection is not something you have to chase. It is not something you have to struggle to hold on to. What is truly meant for you does not require force. It moves toward you as naturally as you move toward it.
There may still be moments when your mind tries to question everything. That is normal. The mind seeks clarity, while the soul already understands. When that happens, do not fight your thoughts. Just observe them and let them pass. Return your attention to the feeling within you, that quiet sense of connection that does not need words. Because that feeling is more honest than any explanation your mind can create. And as you continue on this path, you will notice a shift within yourself.
You will feel more at peace, more grounded, less desperate for answers. It will not be because you have figured everything out, but because you have learned to trust what you feel. Trust does not mean you know every detail of what will happen. It means you are okay without knowing. It means you believe that whatever is unfolding is leading you to where you are meant to be. And as this trust grows, the connection itself becomes stronger. Not in a loud or overwhelming way, but in a quiet, steady way that feels real and lasting. There will come a moment when everything makes sense, when the confusion fades and the pieces come together. A moment where you realize that nothing you went through was wasted. Every experience, every feeling, every challenge played a role in bringing you closer to this point. And when you finally meet this person, or reconnect with them, it will not feel forced or strange. It will feel natural. As if something that was always meant to happen has finally found its time. Until then, your only task is to continue becoming who you are meant to be. To take care of yourself. To listen to your inner voice. To trust the process even when it feels unclear. Because this journey is not just about meeting someone else. It is also about meeting yourself at a deeper level. And when both of those things happen at the same time, that is when everything changes. So do not rush it. Do not doubt it too much. Just allow it to unfold, step by step. Because what is meant for you is already finding its way to you. And in ways you may not yet fully see, it is already closer than you think. You begin to notice certain patterns showing up in your life. Small moments, repeated situations, and coincidences that feel too exact to be random. These are not just chance events. They are signals, meaningful signs that are quietly guiding you towards something important. At the same time, there is a feeling growing inside you. It is calm but steady. A sense that someone, somewhere, is thinking about you. It feels like an emotional connection reaching out to you, even without any spoken words. This is not imagination. Feelings and emotional energy do not always need physical presence to be experienced. When two people share a deep connection, their inner worlds begin to interact in quiet and subtle ways. You may feel this as a sense of missing someone, a soft anticipation, or even a warmth or pressure in your chest that you cannot clearly explain. What you are moving toward is not just meeting someone new. It is something deeper. It is a moment of recognition, a moment where things suddenly feel clear, not because someone explained them, but because you feel them deeply within. When this person finally enters your life, there will be a strange sense of familiarity. It will not feel like meeting for the first time. Instead, it will feel like returning to something you already know. And yes, there will be a moment. A simple human moment, but one that carries deep meaning. A hug, but not an ordinary one. It will be the kind of embrace that removes distance, doubt, and fear all at once. In that moment, words will not be needed. Your body will understand what your mind could not fully explain before. You will feel seen, understood, and accepted in a way that feels both new and somehow already known. This is not about everything being perfect. A connection like this does not mean there will be no problems or challenges. Instead, it means both of you are ready to face those challenges with awareness and understanding. There will be depth, honesty, and a shared sense of purpose that goes beyond surface-level attachment. So, if you feel this pull inside you, do not ignore it. If you sense that something is coming closer to you, trust that feeling. You are not waiting for nothing. The timing of these things is not random. Everything is unfolding in a very precise way, even if your thinking mind cannot fully understand it yet. Deep inside, a part of you already accepts this process. The connection you are moving toward is not only physical, it is emotional, mental, and something deeper within your being. It is the meeting of two inner worlds that have been quietly getting ready for each other for a long time. And sooner than you expect, what once felt far away will start to become real in your life. The soul recognizes connection before the mind can understand it. This is one of the deepest truths you can experience within yourself. Long before your thoughts begin to question or analyze anything, there is a quiet knowing that comes from a deeper place. This knowing does not come with explanations or clear logic. It shows itself as a feeling. At first, it may be very light, almost easy to ignore, but it stays. It continues like a soft voice that does not disappear. You may feel it most strongly when you are alone, when your guard is down, when your mind is not trying to control or overthink everything. In those quiet moments, something inside you reaches outward, not out of need, but out of recognition. This recognition is not based on how much time you have spent with someone. It is not built from shared experiences in the usual sense. It comes from a deeper level of the mind, where emotional patterns and inner images exist.
When you come across someone who matches this inner pattern, your soul reacts immediately. It does not ask for proof. It does not wait for confirmation. It simply knows. But the mind works differently. It looks for reasons, for evidence, for clear answers. And when it faces something as deep and unclear as this kind of connection, it can become unsure. It may start to create doubt where there was once confidence. It may question why you feel so strongly. This can create a feeling of being pulled in two directions, as if your thoughts and your feelings are not in agreement. But this does not mean something is wrong. It is a normal part of the experience.
Your mind is only trying to understand what your deeper self has already recognized. As time passes, you will begin to notice more signs and patterns. Slowly, your thinking mind will start to align with that deeper knowing. What once felt confusing will begin to feel clear. Not because the feeling changed, but because your understanding grew. And in that alignment, a calm clarity appears. It is not forced. It does not need to prove itself to anyone. It simply exists as a quiet certainty within you, steady and strong. You may also begin to notice that this feeling comes and goes in waves. Sometimes it feels very strong, almost overwhelming, and other times it becomes soft and distant. This does not mean the connection is weakening. It only reflects your own state of awareness and attention. When you are calm and open, you feel it more clearly. When you are distracted or stressed, it may fade into the background. But it never fully disappears. There may be moments when you try to explain it logically. You may look for reasons, for signs that make it make sense in a practical way. And while some answers may appear, they will never fully capture the depth of what you feel. Because not everything meaningful can be reduced to logic. Some experiences are meant to be felt first and understood later. As you continue forward, you may also notice changes within yourself. A shift in how you think, how you respond, and how you see your own life. This connection is not only about meeting someone else, it is also about meeting a deeper part of yourself. It encourages growth in ways that are not always immediately visible. Sometimes growth is loud and obvious, marked by clear decisions and dramatic changes. But more often, especially in deep emotional experiences, growth is quiet. It happens internally, in the way you think, in the way you react, and in the way you begin to understand yourself without needing outside validation. You start noticing that your reactions are not as automatic as they used to be. There is a pause now, even if it is small, between what happens and how you respond to it. That pause is awareness beginning to form. It brings awareness not only to the connection itself, but also to your inner world. You begin to see your own emotional patterns more clearly, the way you attach, the way you hold on, the way you let go, and even the way you fear loss or uncertainty becomes more visible to you. What once felt like confusion slowly starts to become understanding, not because everything around you has changed, but because you are changing in how you perceive it. It makes you face parts of yourself that you may have ignored before. These are not always comfortable realizations. There are emotions that were buried, memories that were avoided, and truths that were easier not to acknowledge. But this kind of connection brings them to the surface, not to overwhelm you,
but to reveal you to yourself in a more complete way. You begin to see that you are not only the version of yourself you show to the world, but also the quieter, deeper layers that exist beneath that surface.
And while this process can feel uncomfortable at times, it is also necessary. Discomfort is often misunderstood as something negative, something to escape from as quickly as possible. But in deeper experiences of emotional and psychological growth, discomfort is not a sign of damage, it is a sign of expansion. It is the mind and heart adjusting to a new level of understanding. It is the stretching of old limits to make space for something more meaningful. Because real connection does not just bring comfort, it also brings transformation. If something only brings comfort, it often remains on the surface. It may feel pleasant, but it does not necessarily change you. Real connection, however, touches deeper layers. It does not only make you feel good in the moment, it changes how you see yourself and how you see others. It reshapes your expectations, your assumptions, and sometimes even your priorities in life.
It pushes you to become more honest, more aware, and more present. Honesty here is not only about speaking truth to another person, but also about being truthful with yourself. You start noticing when you are pretending, when you are avoiding, and when you are trying to protect yourself from feelings that are already there. Awareness grows in small increments. You begin to observe your thoughts instead of being fully controlled by them. Presence becomes more natural, even if only for short moments at first, where you are no longer lost in overthinking but simply experiencing what is happening. And as both of you grow in your own ways, the connection itself becomes stronger and more stable. This does not mean that everything becomes easy or without challenge. Instead, it means that the foundation becomes deeper. It is no longer based only on surface emotions or temporary feelings. It begins to include understanding, patience, and a quiet willingness to continue despite uncertainty. Growth on both sides creates balance, even if that balance is not immediately visible. So do not rush the process. Rushing often comes from discomfort with uncertainty. The mind wants answers quickly, it wants conclusions, it wants clarity before it is naturally available. But meaningful processes rarely unfold under pressure. When something is forced, it loses its natural rhythm. When it is allowed to unfold, it reveals itself in a more complete and stable way.
Do not try to force outcomes or control every detail. Control gives the illusion of safety, but in emotionally deep experiences, too much control can actually block understanding. Life does not always respond well to pressure. Sometimes the more tightly you try to hold something, the more distant it feels. Letting go of that need for control does not mean giving up. It means trusting that not everything needs to be directed in order to develop correctly. Allow things to unfold naturally. Natural unfolding does not mean passivity. It means observation without interference. It means letting events reveal their meaning over time, instead of forcing meaning onto them too early. When you observe instead of control, you begin to notice subtleties you would otherwise miss. Small changes in feeling, timing, and perception become more noticeable. Trust that what is meant to happen will happen at the right time, in the right way.
Timing is often something the mind struggles with. It wants immediate alignment between desire and reality, but many experiences require preparation before they fully arrive. That preparation is not always external. Often it is internal. Emotional readiness, psychological maturity, and personal understanding all play a role in how and when something becomes fully realized in your life. And when that moment finally arrives, when you stand in front of this person and feel that quiet recognition come to life, it will not feel like something forced or constructed. It will feel natural, as if it has always belonged in your life. That recognition is not only about the other person, It is also about yourself. It is the recognition of how far you have come, how much you have understood, and how much you have changed in the process of waiting, experiencing, and growing.
You will understand everything without needing to ask any questions, not because all mysteries will suddenly be explained in words, but because understanding will happen on a deeper level than language. Some realizations do not arrive as explanations. They arrive as certainty, a quiet internal knowing that does not require further proof. Because in that moment, the journey, the waiting, and the feeling will all come together as one clear experience. What once felt scattered and uncertain begins to feel unified. Different moments that once seemed disconnected reveal their relationship to each other. The waiting was not separate from the experience. The feeling was not separate from the growth. Everything becomes part of a single, continuous process that only makes full sense when viewed as a whole. And you will realize that nothing about it was accidental. This realization does not come from logic alone.
It comes from reflection and experience combining together. When you look back, you begin to see how certain moments guided your attention, how certain feelings redirected your choices, and how certain uncertainties kept you moving in ways you did not fully understand at the time. Everything, every small sign and every quiet feeling was leading you here all along. Even the moments that felt unclear or emotionally difficult were part of shaping your awareness. Even the times you questioned everything contributed to building clarity later. The process was not random. It was layered, gradual, and deeply connected to your own inner development. And in the end, what remains is not confusion, but understanding. Not urgency, but calm recognition. Not searching, but arrival.